Hi, this is Rocky Raccoon and welcome to my very first full-length tutorial on how to rig a character in Toon Boom Harmony. First, we're gonna import our reference file. It's a Photoshop file. We're gonna import all the separate layers. Okay. Whoa, it's like super huge, like gigantic. That's because I set the import mode of the file to be actual size, so the Photoshop file is like really big. Now we have to rescale the whole thing. Okay, let's do this. As you can see, there are so many drawing layers. Many of them are drawing substitutions that I created for my Photoshop rig. We're gonna group the whole thing. I want the main node view layer to be very clean. And this is not it. It's time to rescale the whole thing. It's too big. I think a half would do. No. A quarter. Yes, a quarter. Ah, perfect! I want the rig's front view to be like almost symmetrical, like 99% symmetrical. We're gonna move the front view to the center of the camera. And a symmetrical grid will help us do that. As you can see, I have the snap to grid options turned on. Okay, oh wait. What? Something's wrong. Oh, I just unchecked it. Wow, okay. Okay, so we got our grid. Now we will move the front view to the middle of the grid. I will switch the animation mode to animation off, so the peg doesn't create any keyframes. Now I'm just gonna move the whole thing to the right. We're also gonna zoom in to get more symmetrical accuracy. I drew an X symbol so I can move the front view to the center more easily. We're almost there. Almost perfectly perfect symmetry. Oh, I got it. It's a light pixel. Almost got it. You know what? I think that's it. Like I said, almost perfectly perfect symmetry. Okay, let's start tracing. I'm gonna do the eye first. For some reason, I like to save a lot. I don't want to lose all my files. Like, what if it crashes? In like out of nowhere. I got like 11 drawing substitutions for the hand. We're gonna trace them later. In this video, I'm gonna focus on the head. For some reason, the Photoshop layers boundary box is like the size of the canvas. Their color layer is full of weird vector paths. I don't know why, but we're gonna remove them. You can use the apply to all the drawing layers so you can remove them with ease. Now the boundary box is not gigantic anymore. Also, one weird thing. All the Photoshop imported layers share the same drawing substitutions for some reason. So now I'm gonna put the mouse substitutions, oh no, the neck. The mouse, yes. All the mouse drawing substitutions in one layer, and I'm gonna delete all of the rest. And now the hand. Okay. These are some hand poses that I think I might use very often. Okay, now that we're done with that, let's start tracing. I'm gonna lock the whole reference thing. That's because you don't want to accidentally click on one of those layers while rigging your character. I like to turn on the light table, like the light bulb thing, to focus on the layer I'm working with. We're gonna rename the palette for Ollie over here. And delete the unnecessary color swatches, like ew, that red. No. I'm gonna start tracing the eye with the polyline tool. It's like the pen tool in Photoshop and Illustrator. It's basically very easy to use. Now I'm just gonna adjust the curves. I want them to look better. A little more thickness, I think. No, that's too much. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now I will use the paint tool to paint the eye white. We got the eyeball, we need the pupil. Now, I use the ellipse tool to draw a round shape. Black color, okay. Gonna rescale that a little bit. Let's see. Okay, that's good enough. Now I'm gonna center the pivot to the drawing using one of the scripts that I got on Toon Boom Discord community. You should really check it out. Like, that's so cool. We're gonna make a groove for the whole rig. Again, I want the main node view to be clean so I can do the compositing, right? Shouldn't be too many drawing layers in your main node view. That's for compositing steps, meaning the small nodes only. I'm gonna rearrange the nodes. The more drawing layers you have, the more you'll have to expand your node view. Okay, before I do anything else, I'm gonna start adding the master pegs. The master peg. The upper body peg. Body peg. And the head. Okay, one more. This is gonna be the face peg. You'll see what I mean later. I will put the eye and pupil in a separate composite layer. Remember to make the composite pass-through mode. You can change it to the default setting in the preferences. I have some preferences I want to share with you guys. I also have autosave for every 10 minutes turned on, but I still like to save manually. Putting certain things into specific composite layers will help me manage and rearrange my nodes better. If there are too many nodes connected to the main composite, things will get pretty messy. I'm gonna give the eye and pupil layer their own peg layer because I don't want to animate on the drawing layer. I got this script that will copy a pivot point from one layer to another, so that's cool. Remember to uncheck the animate using the animation tools in drawing layers because we don't want to animate on that, remember? Set the pivot mode to parent peg. That way, when you're animating something, it will only create keyframes on their peg layers. We're gonna start rearranging the nodes. It's getting a little messy already. I'm gonna put the parent pegs further on top. Okay. So, I want the pupil to be inside the eye. First, I'm gonna separate the black and white color in my eye layer. For example, if the pupil is a different color, it will also overlap the black lines. I'm gonna try the color override node first. This node can be used to separate or render specific colors or put the textures in those layers. I'm gonna choose the color black so we can render it separately. There are also many modes for the colors. If I choose the color white and I select color not visible, it will only render the black color only. See, I can only select the black layer. The white part that you see is of the Photoshop layer. Now, we will use another color override node to render the white part only. Something's not right. It's supposed to render the white part only. Those override modes are very confusing for beginners, so I'm gonna choose render selected colors only. It's gonna render the white part only. Overall, the color override node can be very confusing for beginners, so I'm gonna try a different technique to separate the black line and the white part. Let me think. One thing special about Toon Boom Harmony is that one drawing layer has 4 art layers. Usually everything stays in the line art, so I will put the white part into the color art layer. We will cut the white fill and paste it to the color art layer. You can see that there are blue outlines to indicate that it is the color art layer. Now we're gonna do the pupil inside eye thingy. So this is a pupil layer. I'm gonna use the cutter node to do the clipping mask effect. We have to invert the cutter's mat so that the pupil overlaps the eye layer. Good, it works! Oh yeah! There is another way to do this simple type of clipping mask. I'm gonna connect the color art to the left side of the pupil node. It will create a mat or mask, and you can see that it actually works. We're gonna start expanding the node view again. I'm gonna connect the eye peg to the pupil peg, so the eye peg will be the parent of the pupil peg, and the pupil peg will move with the eye peg. Now I'm gonna collapse the whole eye peg layer and clone it. You can also use duplicate layer, but I'm gonna tell you the difference about clone and duplicate later. We're gonna start renaming things, left and right, L and R. Now we're gonna flip the eye layer and reposition the whole eye peg to get the other eye. I'm gonna change the pivot mode for a while to flip the eye layer only. Only the eye layer, not its peg layer. You can manually move the eye layer to the other side, but I have a better way. We're gonna get super symmetrical here, you guys. We're gonna use the pivot point and multiply it by 2 to get it to the other side perfectly. You can also change the pivot point to a rounder number, but I like to get the best accuracy possible. Or you can get your calculator and do the math. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you perfect symmetry. That's perfectly perfect, like yeah. Hold on, where is my pupil layer? Oh god, I just realized that I transform the eye layer instead of the whole eye peg. So I'm just gonna copy the position of the eye peg. I'm just gonna cut it. I'm just gonna cut it and paste it to there. There you go. Wait, oh, that's perfect. Now that we have both pupils, we're gonna make an eye controller. This controller will have the ability to move both pupil layers, rotate them, scale them, or even skew them. So I'm gonna grab my round controller that I store in my library and put it in. So I will use that to make an eye controller. We're gonna center the pivot to its drawing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create Beziers for the controller and paste them to the two pupil layers. So a layer has functions like position, scale, rotate, skew, blah blah blah. They are the basic functions. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna share function. It's called function linking. I'm gonna move the right pupil layer, like the right side that you see on the screen, to the left to be closer to the left pupil. It actually depends on your art style and character. I got a script on Discord that will help make function linking way easier. I'm just gonna select two nodes and sync them. See, the pupil moves with the controller without being its parent. You guys really have to use this script. Otherwise, you're gonna be creating Beziers and copy and paste them. It takes too much time. Now I'm gonna sync the right pupil drawing layer with the left pupil layer. Now, both of the pupils will move with the controller. But you can see that the pupils are too far away from each other. They're not accurate to the reference file. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the right pupil peg layer to the left. We're gonna use the animate off mode to not create any keyframes. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay, so now the controller works. It can rotate. Yeah, that's good. Usually you don't animate on a drawing layer, but they're just controllers. So screw that. You can see that when I imported my round shape in, my round drawing layer in, it imports some color palettes too. It's from another file from my IK template, so I'm just gonna delete them. Now we're gonna draw some more eye poses, which will be drawing substitutions for the eye layer. I'm gonna duplicate the drawing so that my process is easier. Since it's just a simple round eye, the eye poses will be very easy to create. I'm gonna draw some eye blink frames. You can adjust separate vector shapes or paths with the select tool. Now I'm gonna use the cutter to trim the extra unnecessary lines. Now we're gonna paint the eyelids. I forgot to add some more color swatches. Okay, so this, the main color of Ollie. Okay. For some reason, the pupil overlaps the eyelids. So, oh yeah, the line art must be in front. The line art node must be in front of the pupil. And so the eyelid stays on the line art, so it's gonna overlap the pupil. That is the eye controller node. I'm gonna connect it to the main composite. It will be connected to the main master peg of the whole rig. Now I'm gonna start creating some more eye poses. It's speed drawing time. I'm just gonna duplicate drawings and make some more eye poses like a closing eyelids, or funny, and or chill, and then like super funny. This can be used for when he's like super scared. Okay, the angry, ooh, anger, and they're fearful or sad, I think. Extremely sad, like he's crying or something. Boo hoo. Okay, so I've got all my eye poses. I think for now they're enough. You can also move both eye pupil layers because their pegs will be moving, not the drawing layer itself. So you can move the pupils and pose them according to your liking. Remember this, the pupil pegs move individually. The pupil drawing layers move with the controller. Now I'm gonna create the eyebrow layer. I'm gonna use the pencil tool instead of the polyline tool to get more organic shapes and thickness. You can adjust the path using the contour editor tool. I'm gonna select create new drawing so I don't have to adjust the original frame to get the new ones. I'm just gonna draw new eyebrow shapes and poses. You should create some neutral poses, angry, sad, or like confused or perplexed. I'm gonna create an invisible fill around the eyebrows so when you zoom out too much and the eyebrow is small, you can still click on it and transform. You can put it on the color art layer or something, or any other layer like overlay or underlay, but I like color art layer. I like to use it very often. Now when I zoom out the view, I can still click on the eyebrow layer thanks to the invisible fill surrounding the eyebrow. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit so you don't click it by mistake when you select the hair or eye layer or something. Now I'm gonna create a peg layer for the eyebrow. So we're gonna use the copy and paste pivot tool again. And make sure to uncheck the animate using animation tools and set the pivot mode. Set the pivot mode to peg layer on the drawing node, so you don't accidentally animate on the drawing layer. I like to use clone layers because when you clone layer, the new clone layers will update with the original layers. Like if you created more eyebrow poses for one drawing, the other drawing will update it. I'm gonna connect the face pack to the eye packs and eyebrow packs. Okay, so the face pack will help stretch or lift the eyes and eyebrows a little bit. You see that? You can use this pack to put more life into your character's facial expressions. Also set the pivot, the x-axis of the pivot to be 0 because it's a symmetrical rig. Okay, so now I'm gonna create the mouth layer. I already have some drawing poses that I made in my Photoshop file. The mouth is in the face pack too. I'm gonna add another composite node that will be the main composite of the rig. The composite node above will be for the head. Again, I don't want too many nodes connected to a single composite node. The eye controller will also have its own composite node with a visibility node. Okay, So, how does it work? Okay, turn off the soft render so it will not render in the render view. You can only see it in the OpenGL view, which is what we're using to rig our character. We don't use the render view to rig our character because they don't move in real time. I will start tracing my mouth poses. Okay, the first one, we're gonna use the polyline tool because I want the mouth to be very symmetrical. We're gonna trace one side only and then we copy it to the other. It will be like perfectly symmetrical. Turn on the snapping tool so that the path you see, the point you see, it will snap to the grid. And we use snap to align so that we can create a straight Bezier handles. Now we're gonna copy it to the other side and flip it. Now we're gonna snap it and oh wait a minute. I think we're gonna put it on solo mode. Okay, easy snap. Good. I will start tracing the other mouth poses. I'm thinking of creating separate teeth and tongue layers. This will be for a 360 rig, so I don't have to create extra mouth poses with deformers. I don't recommend it to beginners because there will be too many mouth poses and like head poses. Too many keyframes. It's a nightmare. I'm gonna give the whole mouth layer its own composite node. I'm gonna start tracing the teeth for each mouth poses. Oh yeah, and tongue layer too. I'm gonna put the teeth and tongue inside the mouth using the earlier clipping mask technique that I just told you guys about. The eye and the pupil, separate the lines and the fills. Yeah. Remember to add a pack layer from most drawing layers because you don't want to animate on the drawing layers. You can also add pack layers for the controllers, but I don't like to. I'm lazy. Again, I'm gonna add an invisible fill for the mouse layer because when I zoom out too far, I cannot click on the mouse. So now I'm gonna batch rename these drawing cells or frames. I will sync the tongue and teeth layer to the mouth layer. That's why I had to rename the cells because they will only be synced properly if the substitution numbers are correct. Now, when I change the mouth pose, the teeth and tongue drawings will also change accordingly. Okay, so we're done with the mouse. Now let's trace the head. The head drawing layer will be connected to the head peg because the face controller is a different thing from the head. Now I want my head drawing to be perfectly symmetrical. So I'm doing the one, tracing one side and then copy paste it to the other side. Yeah. Remember to increase the exposure of the drawings so that you can test the animation throughout the timeline. I'm gonna put the head pivot on top near his neck and set the x-axis to be 0. Okay. Now I will create an envelope deformer for the head so that I can use it to create poses in my 360 rig. I like to use the envelope creator to create automatic deformers. Since my head is symmetrical, it will be easier to calculate the deformer points. And they, as you can see, they are symmetrical. To create the 360 rig more easily and stylistic choice, I'm gonna use the head as a clipping mask for the face, including eyes, eyebrows, and mouth layer. Again, the line art and color art node to separate the line and fill. We're gonna create a composite for every part of the face so they will be connected to the mask easily. Now I'm gonna use the cutter node because you cannot connect that. Yeah, you cannot do that. You cannot make a mat out of a composite node. So we're gonna use the cutter node. I'm gonna make the head controller and face controller to help me test things out more easily. I'm gonna duplicate, yes, I'm gonna duplicate the eye controller to make the head controller. Because I duplicated the head node instead of cloning it. The drawing of the head controller will not be synced with the eye controller. They are now completely separate layers. I'm gonna use the square shape in my library. Different shapes will help me tell the controllers apart. Now I can move the face very easily without having to search where the face pack is. Like, controllers are very helpful, you know? A basic principle of animation is a squash and stretch. It will help make your animation more lively and more fluid and expressive. So we're gonna do the squash and stretch for the head pack. We're gonna be using 2 points constraints with 2 more packs because that's like the fastest way to do it. I'm gonna connect the constraint node to the head deformer and the face pack. So the 2 point constraint node works like this. You have one peg and the other. If you move one peg further from the other, the drawing will be stretched. If you move this peg near the other peg, the drawing will be squashed. That's basically it. And I use this constraint node to make my fake IK arm template too. So 1 point is on the top of this head. The other will be at the bottom to create the squash and stretch motion correctly. So do you understand how 2 point constraint works? If you don't, you have to like rewatch this part like a thousand times, okay? Now I will create a controller for the squash and stretch motion. Okay, that's good. Seriously, I am loving these controllers. Now it's time to create the hair. Speed drawing time! I'm not gonna use basic deformers this time. I'm gonna use my weight deformer dynamic hair template. You can get them on my Gumroad page. This setup will help move the hair more naturally according to the movement of the head. Now I will move the pivot points of the pack to create some create the pivot point that will transform the hair and some other points to hold the hair in place. I feel like I need at least 2 hold points. I only need 2 more points to deform the hair. I'm gonna delete at least 1 peg. one control point on in the middle of the head, and one control point on the top of the hair. Another unnecessary peg point. Now I'm gonna test the dynamic hair movement. Wait, what? Oh, wait. Oh, the hair peg is not connected to the constraint. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's better. It looks good so far. Okay. You can also create controllers for those pegs, but now I don't feel the need to. Now I'm gonna duplicate that hair strand to create the other hair strands, which will duplicate the whole setup. It's speed rigging time! The dynamic spring nodes are connected to one constraint switch node. And what is it used for? Okay, I'll show you. I will press the show control button of the constraint switch, which will show us some kind of a control. It's kind of like a slider. This switch will control the overall intensity of the dynamic movements. If I set the slider to the bottom, there is no more dynamic movements. If I set to on the top, oh my god. That's much better. Okay, so let's create the rest of the hair. Okay, so let's see how the whole hair will move. This is okay. It's okay. But there's still something missing. I will put in some auto patch nodes. You'll see how it works. I'm just gonna connect them to the front of the composite. I'm gonna explain the auto patch node like this. It kinda cuts the outlines of the drawing layers. To use this effect, you need to put the fill of the drawing to the color art layer. It's also good for arms and legs if you wanna create that seamless joint look. Now the hair looks more seamless. Okay, so Now the whole hair is over. The whole hair is overlapping the face, so we're gonna adjust the node view a little bit. I'm just gonna use the hair as another clipping mask for the face. So the hair and the head will both be the clipping mask for the face. Again, the outline has to be on top. Okay, so I'm gonna adjust it a little bit more. So the face is overlapping the fill of the head, but not the outline of the head. I'm not gonna use the line separating technique for the hair because each hair strand is a different piece, and if we do that separating, it will only render the whole line art of those hair strands, so it will not work. I'm gonna try another way. I'm gonna use another cutter so that the hair will be a clipping mask for the face separately from the head. Okay, now it works. Not for the hair though, but the eye doesn't need to go that high. So yeah. Now I'm gonna readjust the dynamic spring hair movement because as you can see, it's not looking that good. Oh, okay, it looks kind of ugly, so we're gonna have to adjust the pegs and the speed, the intensity of the dynamic string nose. I feel like the peg in the middle of the hair doesn't need to move that much, so I'm gonna adjust all of them. That looks kind of better because those parts don't have to move that much, making the hair more stable. I'm gonna reposition the peg pivot points. Moving the point further from the hair strand makes it look much better. Okay, let's test it out.